Lucius Annaeus Seneca was a prominent Roman philosopher and playwright who published several essential works on Stoicism. He advised the Emperor Nero and is often credited with making Stoicism more accessible to a wider audience. His letters, writings, and thoughts have influenced centuries of thinkers. His popular collection of writings, Letters from a Stoic, contains his vision of what the good life is and how to achieve it. So here are 10 important lessons we can learn from Seneca. 1. When you're hungry, eat. When you're tired, sleep. According to Seneca, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future. The truth about physical and mental well-being is simply to live in the present moment with care and excitement. But how often do we rush to finish something so that we can rush on to the next thing on our list? How often do we spend an evening worrying about tomorrow instead of relaxing? How many times have you caught yourself in the middle of an amazing moment, thinking about what you're going to do next? In a book called Out of Your Mind by Alan Watts, Watts shares a conversation between a Zen master and his student. The student asked a wise Zen master how to achieve Zen, and the master replied, "Eat when you're hungry and sleep when you're tired." The student, completely confused, said, "Isn't that what people already do?" The Zen master replied, "No, people don't just eat. They think about 10,000 things, and people don't just sleep, they dream countless dreams. We let our minds wander to the next big thing or to the memories we have from years ago, while we lose sight of all the things that are happening around us right now. The next thing you know, you're living in that moment you were thinking so hard about yesterday, but your mind has already moved on to tomorrow, or you're stuck in a moment from 2 weeks ago. So challenge yourself to start living in the present, starting now. 2. Create your own philosophy. Seneca tells us, when a mind is easily influenced and does not have a very clear idea of what is right, it must be rescued from the crowd. It is so easy for it to join the majority. Every day, you spend a lot of time on social media, or with people who tell you how to think, what to believe, how to act, and what to do with your valuable time. It's up to you to protect yourself from this influence, the influence of the masses, as Seneca called it. Just because most people do something doesn't mean it's something you should imitate. Many people spend money on luxuries they don't need. Most aren't grateful for what they have. Many of them spend a lot of time on trivial things and achieve nothing. If you want to get the same results as everyone else, then by all means follow the crowd. Or you can be a student, decide what you believe in, and create a path that's all your own. Seneca realized that if we want to live well, we must be constant students of the greatest subject of all, life itself. 3. Don't just live long, but live well. As Seneca taught us, therefore you should not think that a man has lived long because he has grey hair and wrinkles. He has not lived long, he has only existed long. In his moral essay, On the Brevity of Life, Seneca reminds us in a serious way about the limitation of our most valuable resource, time. For Seneca, life was long for those who didn't waste their time. Most of the time, we're not really living, we're just existing, letting life happen to us instead of taking the reins to live the life we want. We only live for a long time, and not very long because our lives are full of busyness and stress. Often throughout our lives, we become obsessed and addicted to things that give us fleeting pleasures. We seek power, fame, money, prestige, and status. Seneca encourages us to examine these problems that make life seem to pass too quickly. Basically, he urges us to question our existence and think, what evidence do I have that I'm truly living? Many of us lead what could be called a life of mere existence. We are lazy and waste our potential. The reality is that life is taking its course, whether we like it or not. Your time is valuable and is the only resource that can never be recovered. However, life can be long if you use your time intentionally and carefully. It can be rewarding if you invest your time in real things, such as studying philosophy, having control over yourself, working towards goals that are important to you and not putting off enjoying life for the future. 4. Learn the art of contentment. According to Seneca, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who desires more who is poor. Seneca was one of the richest people in the Roman Empire, but he chose to live simply most of the time. Although he had wealth, he imagined every day as if it could disappear. This gave him the freedom to philosophize about life without becoming a slave to his wealth. If you're watching this video, you probably live in a modern or developing society, where the basics, such as a decent place to live, clothes, an internet connection, a smartphone, a laptop, and food, are easily obtained. Yet even so, we still want more. The biggest disease we face today is the desire for luxury. We believe that if we have more and can have more time, things will be better. Doing what we love will be easier. Although the idea that having more money makes raising children, and spending time with the family simpler seems practical, the reality often reveals the opposite. It is common to observe that some very wealthy people face challenges in their family lives, experiencing high levels of anxiety and stress. Contrary to initial expectations, their lives become more complicated, not simpler. Material wealth at a certain point can become an obstacle because accumulating large amounts of money takes considerable time, energy, and mental and emotional space. In the process, the quest for more can obscure appreciation for what we already have, generating constant dissatisfaction. So it's important to reflect on how material success affects different areas of life and find a balance that values what we have without losing sight of our personal aspirations and desires. 5. Exercise your mind daily. Seneca says, "As long as you live, keep learning to live." Developing our inner self is a lifelong process that we must always work on. Determining ways to improve ourselves and finding happiness were among Seneca's goals for humanity. We always put off self-improvement practices because we believe we don't have enough time. We often find the idea of meditating more stressful than usual when we're busy. Seneca insists that these are not valid excuses. We should treat working on our inner self as a full-time job, not something we should ignore in favor of other tasks. One of the first steps to improving ourselves is to recognize our own faults. None of us are perfect, and identifying which areas of ourselves we need to work on is crucial. Sometimes as people go through their journeys in life, their perspectives and beliefs change. The learning process often occurs when someone realizes that their previous beliefs were based on incorrect or misleading ideas. From this moment of revelation, there is an opportunity for improvement and advancement. As we go through life's journey, we are constantly learning, whether unconsciously or consciously. Your mind is a valuable and long-lasting tool, which is why taking the time to look after your mental health is fundamental. Whatever stage of life you're in, there's always room to learn something new. This could involve acquiring new skills, taking part in courses, practicing meditation, or reading books aimed at personal development. Books are a valuable source of knowledge, written by experts who offer a variety of perspectives to share their experiences and wisdom. Exploring these highly recommended materials can enrich your personal quest for learning and growth. So take the time to exercise your mind daily by engaging in activities that stimulate it. 6. Courageously facing life's struggles. Seneca says, "He must put all his heart into fighting them. Let us overcome all things with our reward consisting of moral worth, strength of spirit and peace that is won forever. Once in any contest, adversity has been totally defeated." Seneca teaches us that how we perceive suffering is much more important than the suffering itself. Everyone goes through difficult times. What really matters is how you deal with it. In our personal lives and around the world, we face challenges such as injury, illness, unemployment, loss, divorce, death, or even new opportunities with an uncertain future. The truth is that many of us allow these problems to overcome us through feelings of anger, fear, and anxiety. These negative approaches leave us so paralyzed that we can't take a step forward to solve the problem. On the one hand, you can see a setback as a failure. On the other hand, you can see it as a lesson and use it as fuel for even greater effort in the future. You can see a long queue as a nuisance, or you can see it as an opportunity to practice patience. You can see rejection as a permanent mark of your inadequacy, or you can see it as a stepping stone on your journey to greatness. When you have the right attitude, nothing can stop you. When you have the wrong attitude, almost anything can. To make sure you don't go through these wrong attitudes and have mental problems like anxiety, depression, and other bad feelings, I've made a video to help show you how to overcome these problems. It's in the first comment. 7. Seek your own applause. Remembering the words of Seneca, "Be your own spectator, seek your own applause." As people, we like to be approved of by others. We live in a society that thinks somebody or nobody, and this makes many people feel less important. The problem is that the more we want the approval of others, the more we get caught up in it. No matter how hard we try, we'll never be able to please everyone. Instead, we should strive to please ourselves. We need to live according to our own ethical and moral principles. We must act as part of nature. In nature, there are no rich or poor trees, only balance. Setting high goals and striving for excellence are important steps towards a meaningful life. However, it's crucial to remember that spending too much time thinking about other people's opinions can have a negative impact on your emotional well-being. Therefore, in addition to aiming for external greatness, it is essential to cultivate self-love and internal respect. By building a solid foundation of self-esteem, it becomes easier to live with yourself in a positive way, regardless of external expectations. A starting point for this cultivation is the simple act of looking in the mirror. Reflecting on the image you see can be a valuable exercise. Ask yourself if you are satisfied with the person you see. If the answer is positive, this indicates a positive connection with yourself. If it is negative, an opportunity for reflection arises. The search for authenticity involves exploring what can be adjusted in your life to get closer to the desired self. Thus, by aligning your efforts with your personal values and aspirations, you not only move towards your best self, but also strengthen the foundation for lasting happiness. 8. Living for others. Seneca's wisdom echoes a universal truth. You must live for your neighbor if you want to live for yourself. This outlook on life was shared by notable figures such as Gandhi, Mandela, and Mother Teresa, who dedicated their lives to serving and empowering others. Looking at history, we realize that these leaders never expressed regret for not having devoted more time to themselves. On the contrary, they found meaning and fulfillment in serving others. Like these inspiring figures, we can also contribute to the well-being of our friends, community members, and especially those who face the most significant challenges. In our society, many people face sadness, unhappiness, and disorientation, and this is where we can make a difference with our love and compassion. When performing acts of kindness, it is not necessary to seek payment or even gratitude. The real reward lies in the act of helping itself, creating a chain of benefits for everyone. Regardless of the situation we find ourselves in life, there are always opportunities to extend a helping hand. This can involve offering advice, listening attentively, giving a hug, or sharing words of encouragement. Donating unused items, such as clothes or household appliances, is another tangible way to contribute. In addition, dedicating time and effort to volunteering at local organizations is a valuable way to positively impact the community. Often, the most effective help is not related to money or material resources, but to the genuine sharing of compassion and empathy. By living for others, we find that we become the real beneficiaries of this exchange, fostering a deeper connection and a more supportive society. 9. Heal yourself. Seneca tells us, 2 elements must be eliminated once and for all: the fear of future suffering and the remembrance of past suffering, since the latter no longer concerns me and the former does not yet concern me. According to Seneca, the 2 greatest causes of suffering include fear of the future and regret of the past. Our future is uncertain and not under our control, and worrying too much about the future will only bring us fear, anxiety, and suffering. The truth is that whatever happens, you will have the strength to overcome it and even become stronger. So the next time something bad happens, tell yourself, maybe this sadness will one day bring joy. We regret the past because we want to avoid those mistakes in the future. Instead, we should just reflect on the past, learn our lessons, and move on. The challenge many of us face can be compared to having a virus in our brain. Visualize the space where we store all our experiences and emotions as a glass. When we look at it, we notice that most of us have a crack in that glass. These cracks originate from sad experiences in life or abusive and dysfunctional relationships, which have left traumatic and painful marks. As no one enters adulthood ideally, we all carry some kind of crack. These cracks act like viruses, perpetuating painful memories from the past in our minds. In order to move forward in our lives, it is essential to repair these cracks. The good news is that there is a cure for this mental virus. We can seek help by seeing a therapist, exploring philosophies that promote emotional well-being, or immersing ourselves in reading inspiring books. By facing our past without holding on to it and by not fearing the future, we strengthen our resilience. In this way, we can become more resilient and prepared for life's challenges, building a solid foundation for a more promising future. 10. Find an anchor. Be an anchor. As Seneca said, associate yourself with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those you are capable of improving. The process is mutual. Men learn as they teach. Seneca encourages us to choose someone as a role model to follow in your life. Having a role model is powerful because it can show you what is possible. The person you choose can share principles that will help you face difficult situations, as well as standards by which you can guide your daily behavior. In the same way, when you meet people who really want to grow and you can help them do so, be a support for them. At any stage of your life, there will always be someone looking to you for wisdom. There will always be someone to inspire. It could be your own child, a work colleague, a friend, or someone who wants to connect with you through your experience. This will not only develop your leadership skills, but also help others to learn, grow, and improve their skills. Seeing your mentee's success as a result of your contribution is a reward in itself. And speaking of itself, one of the biggest game changers is the power of being alone. See how Marcus Aurelius shows us this.